Cursed silence. There are many places in the world where silence feels unsettling, but few understand that silence itself can be cursed. Across history, strange tales whisper about villages, children, asylums, and rituals where sound became a forbidden act. These chilling stories remind us that sometimes the absence of noise is far more terrifying than screams. In one such tale, a group of travelers stumbled upon an abandoned village hidden deep within a forest. At first, it seemed peaceful, almost too calm, but soon they realized not even the wind dared to blow there. Birds didn't sing, footsteps made no sound, and voices were swallowed instantly. The cursed silence pressed on their ears like a heavy weight. When one of them laughed nervously to break the tension, the earth beneath cracked open, releasing shadows that shrieked silently as they dragged him down. The villagers had long ago vanished, punished for breaking a sacred vow of silence, and now anyone entering would suffer the same fate. The travelers understood too late the curse was never about ghosts haunting the village, but the silence itself consuming all who disturbed it. Another legend speaks of the haunted asylum on the outskirts of a forgotten town. Generations ago, patients once screamed through its halls, their cries echoing endlessly. But after a devastating fire, the asylum became strangely quiet. Explorers who dared to enter claimed that silence ruled every corridor, as if the walls themselves swallowed sound. A group of thrill seekers once tested the legend by shouting. Their voices disappeared instantly, and moments later, their throats began to close as if unseen hands were crushing them. The cursed silence fed on noise, punishing anyone who dared to disturb it. The few who escaped swore they saw pale figures staring at them, spirits of the patients, forever silenced, demanding others share their fate. A more intimate and chilling story is told of a mute child taken in by a foster family. At first, the child seemed harmless, innocent, and strangely quiet. The family assumed trauma had taken the child's voice. But soon, unusual events began. Doors slammed without a sound. Footsteps ran across the hallways, yet no echo followed. At night, the family woke to find the child staring at them with unblinking eyes, as if listening to something only he could hear. One evening, the foster father broke down and shouted in frustration at the silence surrounding the boy. Moments later, every sound in the house disappeared. No clocks ticking, no breathing, nothing. They realized then that the child's silence wasn't natural. He was carrying an ancient curse that devoured sound wherever he lived, and the family understood their voices were next to vanish forever. Equally disturbing is the tale of the Forbidden Library, a hidden place said to exist beneath an old university. Students whispered that if you found the right staircase, you would descend into a vast collection of books bound in human skin, their stories sealed by silence. Inside, rules were strict. One must never speak, for even a whisper would awaken what was imprisoned within the pages. One arrogant student dismissed the warning and read aloud a passage. Instantly, the silence cracked, and the words he spoke came alive. Shadows crawled out from the books, clawing at him, pulling him into their cursed stories where he was doomed to remain forever. The others who witnessed it swore they could still hear faint scratches beneath the library floors, proof that breaking the silence awakened something that could never be contained again. But perhaps the most terrifying account is that of the ritual of silence. Centuries ago, an ancient cult believed sound was a gift that could be stolen. They practiced a dark ritual, cutting out their tongues and offering their voices to the void. This ritual cursed an entire region, binding silence to its nights. In modern times, residents of a small town unknowingly built their homes on the cult's burial grounds. Every midnight, the streets grew unnaturally quiet. Dogs refused to bark, phones lost their ring, and not even footsteps echoed. At first, The silence seemed eerie but harmless. Then, people began to vanish. It was discovered that anyone who dared to speak a single word after midnight would disappear, dragged into the void by unseen hands. The curse lived on, feeding endlessly, waiting for the next fool who thought they could break the silence. All these stories share one chilling truth: silence is not always peace. It can be a prison, a weapon, or a curse older than time itself. The cursed silence hides in forgotten villages, abandoned asylums, mysterious children, forbidden libraries, and midnight rituals. Those who encounter it never escape unchanged. Sometimes the loudest horror is not a scream, but the absence of one.